Why fast food has gotten so expensive. Ooh, let's watch this one.
Supposed to always be affordable is now unaffordable. The average order for fast food is now roughly $18, a figure up 4.1% since last year. I mean, just 3 filet fishes will run you $17 at Mackie.
This is probably one of the realest things I've ever heard. I mean, I remember like 10 years ago, back in 2016, whenever like me and my family would go out to eat, we'd go to In-N-Out and all of us would order and it would only be like $22. I went there a few days ago like with one of my friends and all I got was like a burger and fries. This shit was $17 or like $18. Basically $20, except instead of having like 4 burgers and 2 sets of fries, you only have 1 burger and 1 set of fries. Like, I don't really know how much it costs in other states. This is just in California where the prices are already pretty high, but I mean, it's pretty ridiculous.
$17 for 3 filet of fishes at McDonald's? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that seems pretty accurate.
And it's not just fast food, even coffee chains like Starbucks are now at a point where you'll go in and end up paying $7 for a single cup of takeaway coffee, and these costs aren't slowing down.
Alright, the Starbucks is actually so real. I mean, before Starbucks used to be something that everyone could get. Now, like, if you go to Starbucks every day, you're rich. I mean, either that or you're just, like, really bad with your money. I mean, I don't really know how much it used to be because I never really went to Starbucks, but, like, whenever I go with my dad, all we would order is literally, I would order, like, a grande, iced coffee and he would order like the same thing or like a grande cafe latte, like nothing special, no like weird order stuff, and it would be like $13 for both of us. It's insane. I mean, like in a week you're spending like $91 a week. And here in California they also charge like a cup fee, so even if you were to order like water, that would be like 50 cents basically. The other thing that Starbucks does is like that uncomfortable shit like with the tips where you have to be standing in front of the barista awkwardly selecting 0 tip on the little iPad that they have in front of you. God, every time I do that, like I feel like they're just gonna spit in my drink or something.
That's why recently people are starting to come out saying they can't even afford to take their kids to McDonald's anymore as the prices are becoming too insane, which marks a huge shift in America. You see, fast food is famous for being recession proof. When people have less money and can't afford organic healthy food, fast food companies make billions off of this.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, fast food is supposed to be cheap. Like, you're basically buying shitty food, but, like, you know, there's an understanding, like a mutual understanding that it's cheap because it's pretty shitty. But, like, I mean, if you're paying, like, $17, $20 for, like, fucking McDonald's, like, fries and a burger, I mean, like, it's not some gourmet meal, you know? You could probably get something at, like, some small chain that's way better than that.
The best years for all these fast food chains is in years of economic turmoil. When standard of living, inflation and misery becomes normal, this then prompts a desperate influx of customers to fast food chains as a last resort. But now even fast food is becoming unaffordable for most across America.
I mean, hear me out though, is this really a bad thing? I mean, like, let's just pull out the statistics here. Like, how many Americans are overweight or obese? I'm pretty sure it's like half. I mean, fast food is notoriously not healthy or good for you. It's not really something that people should be like consuming on a regular basis anyways, so in a way, like, it's pretty good. And I mean, before anyone says that I'm being insensitive to the poor, it's actually cheaper to cook for yourself anyways. I mean, yeah, you may not always be able to like buy all the expensive like supplements, expensive powders, or like really healthy food, but are we really gonna sit and act like it would be so much more expensive to buy a few cans of beans a week or like peanut butter and like throw it on some toast? I mean, not everything you eat has to be like that good. People back in the day used to eat that all the time, same thing every day, like twice a day or something. I mean, like, you're not gonna die if you just have like some beans, a can of tuna, and like bread. I mean, sure, it'll be disgusting, but in the long run it's cheaper and like way better for you anyway. And groceries also didn't get as expensive as fast food, like to my understanding. Wait, let's pull it up again.
According to the Consumer Price Index, fast food from 2019 to 2023 was up nearly 28%, more than almost any other category measured in this time period.
Yeah, like you can see the inflation isn't really like hitting it as much as it's hitting fast food, so it would actually be cheaper and healthier, and you'd learn a new skill if people just like cook for themselves. And it doesn't have to take a long time to cook. I mean, people act like it takes an hour a day to be cooking all your meals, and I'm working 8 hours a day, I can't do it. I mean, listen, you have time to go on TikTok and be watching this video or like watching my video or whatever. People can make time for it if they want to make time for it. It takes like 5 minutes to throw some beans in the microwave and like 2 minutes to put toast in the toaster, and then like, I don't know, throw an egg on it and you have like a pretty good meal.
Which is why it's been reported that less and less people are going to fast food restaurants. And the same can be said for almost every chain across America, as these chains are squeezing every last dime out of American communities, while at the same time facing huge drops in consumers. Just recently, 99-cent stores across America have been closing, but funnily enough, all of these companies have still been able to maintain their revenue. How? What's going on here? And why are fast food chains raising their prices so dramatically? And even more importantly, how are they losing customers and still keeping the same revenue up back here? Now, on the surface, fast food is more expensive for a few reasons. The cost of packaging and buying up the raw ingredients needed is naturally increasing with inflation and the food market as a whole. However, of course, these crazy fast food prices isn't happening across the entire world. It's more of an America-centric thing. And one of the main causes for this is rising minimum wages. As recently it was announced in California alone that all fast food workers would earn a minimum of $20.
It's honestly crazy that minimum wage is like this low in California. It's absolutely not enough to survive. I mean, maybe like if you live in some fucking like buttfuck nowhere barn it is, but like if you're living in San Francisco or LA, I mean, I think you need like at least 120K to live comfortably. As an individual, like by yourself.
And this is starting to become the norm for many major cities within the US. And this is out of necessity, as the labor market is starting to turn their back against fast food establishments and chains. So the only way these chains can bring back workers is by incentivizing them financially. Which is why CNBC noted that the labor supply for these chains is still below 2019 levels. Or put more simply, there's more job openings and less applicants. Okay, so rising labor costs and industry costs is the reason for why fast food and all the other chains are becoming more expensive, right? Well, not entirely. To stand out, recently companies like Wendy's and McDonald's have been pouring millions upon millions into their apps, and more specifically making you spend on their apps to get points, creating this chain and dopamine feedback loop, ensuring you always come back for your free occasional rewards and discounts.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. They actually do this with Starbucks. Like, if you have the Starbucks app, which I have, you basically just get points by buying enough lattes, and then eventually, like after 10, you'll get a free one.
Going so far as to use these apps to monitor your habits, where you live, your lifestyle, to always constantly addict you into consuming the slop that they're shoving down your throats, that they're addicting you to. And by understanding this, you start to realize how dependent all of America is on chains as a whole.
I mean, I don't really think they're shoving it down anyone's throats. People are buying fast food because people like fast food, like they like how it tastes and stuff. I actually disagree with this. I think that there is nothing forcing anybody to get fast food or to like get shitty food like that. I think that it's a matter of personal choice, and that the people who say that it's the companies forcing it down their throats are just trying to like externalize the issue and put the blame on anyone other than themselves. And yeah, sure, I mean, food deserts exist. There are places where it's kind of hard to get fresh organic food or whatever, but I mean, it doesn't really matter in the end if it's like organic. I mean, in most places you'll have some type of gas station corner store, and especially like at least in California, you have tons of options. I mean, you can get beans, you can get like a canned tuna, you can get like ramen. It's not like anyone is forcing you to like have 3 Big Macs and a Coke. But people would like rather put the blame on anyone or anything other than themselves. They put it on their circumstances, on them not having enough time. I mean, in the time that you would spend in a like McDonald's drive-thru, you could have just thrown the toast in the toaster, like thrown the tuna on the bread, and you still probably would have been done faster. Like, people want to blame the time, they want to blame their jobs, or they want to blame like their dopamine in their brain, but they don't actually want to like change any of their habits. They want someone else to fix it for them. If that makes sense.
I mean, just recently I was in northern Florida and Georgia, and there's literally nothing in most of these small towns in Southern America, apart from highway strips, malls, and ominous signs to chain stores glowing everywhere. You can't even walk across the street to shops or local community areas. You have to drive no matter what, even if it's just across the road, because the entire landscape is designed to be anti-human.
I think it's kind of funny, like when Europeans, I mean, I'm assuming he's European, he sounds like British. It's always funny when Europeans realize, like, oh yeah, in America you actually need like a fucking car, because like the car-centric infrastructure basically makes it so that you can't walk anywhere. Where I live, it takes 1 hour to walk to the nearest store. Like the nearest Safeway is 1 hour away.
In most of America, there are no local food shops, there is no walkability, there is no affordable healthy food, just mega chains in most rural areas and low-income neighborhoods. I mean, most towns in America consist of usually just two types of chains, fast food stores and dollar stores. Well, in much of America, people are situated in food deserts, where there's hardly any local organic options as it's too expensive for most people to enjoy.
I mean, once again, I disagree. I think that your average 7-Eleven can of beans with toast is like just as affordable as the fast food. And I think that there are always options for people who are like willing to look for them. I mean, this honestly might just be true more in the South, but even the poorest places in California will have options that are there for people who want to take them.
So instead, companies like Dollar General and 99-cent stores have swooped in using all of their financial power to outprice any local regular food options and instead replace local businesses and grocery shops with these giant chains.
Yeah, and even in these 99-cent stores or Dollar Trees, you'll usually be able to find like a can of tuna and beans. I mean, I know I keep repeating that, but it is seriously some of the cheapest food ever, and it's like pretty healthy. So like, I mean, just go to Walmart, look at what they have.
Same small town of chains, highways and strip malls on repeat for hundreds of miles. And it's so accepted because at first the chains are seen as cheap, but as more and more people are realizing recently, this is just an illusion to make you dependent on the chains in the long run. But now even dollar stores are raising prices. For $1, you're starting to get less and less to the point that you end up spending more for less, which is why Family Dollar has closed 1,000 stores and 99-cent stores have closed 371 stores. And it seems like this is a continuing trend. And yet weirdly, the two biggest dollar store companies, Dollar General and Dollar Tree, have been making billions in profits. This is still a sign of the times, because prices continue soaring for almost everything.
Yeah, this is definitely like a doomer take, but like everything is so fucking expensive, dude. I mean, I don't really know how it was for my parents, but there's like a clear disconnect between Gen Z and like other generations because everything is so fucking expensive. I mean, like the idea that like 75% or so of Gen Z say that they don't think that they'll ever have enough money to like buy a house or something like that, that's pretty shitty, dude. By that point, you're basically just wondering what even is the point anymore. Like, what's the point of all this? Just like keep working at the hamster wheel so that the top 0.0001% of people can keep hoarding all of the shit that they've taken.
Most Americans think they need to save over $1.4 million for retirement. $1.4 million. That number is up over 50% from just 4 years ago.
50% more than 4 years ago? Holy shit, that's like $70,000. So in 2020, people thought they needed $700K to retire, and now they're thinking 1.4 million?
Chain stores are making everyone dependent on them, then raising the prices to suck what little is left out of American communities, giving a terrible service and a terrible product for a premium price. And once these small communities are reliant on overpriced garbage that poison the community's health and wallet, it makes people across America sicker and poorer.
The thing is, though, Americans are destroying themselves from within. And I will keep repeating this because it's true. People are making decisions that are bad for their health because they don't want to go with the inconvenient option, or because they don't really want to put in effort into doing like the harder thing. It is just as cheap to buy a can of frijoles and like bread and tuna, like obviously dividing it into different meals, than it would be to get a Big Mac and fries at McDonald's. And yet people choose the Big Mac and fries at McDonald's. And why? Well, because like it tastes better, honestly. Because like you don't want fucking tuna. It tastes like shit. And I think another part is people don't really want to like feel like a poor person eating bread, like, you know. And even if it did cost like slightly more, in the end, it would be way cheaper because you wouldn't have to go to the hospital, spend $5,000 because your heart stopped, because your arteries are clogged, because you're eating Big Macs every day.
Take Branson, for example. It's a small town in Missouri, and local businesses from family-owned diners to independent bookstores form the backbone of the community. You see, the town became a tourist attraction, and you would think this would be great for the small town. But as Branson's popularity grew, the chains across America were starting to take notice. And over time, these chains started to outnumber and overshadow all local businesses.
This is basically what all big monopolies do. I mean, doesn't Amazon basically, like isn't that how their whole thing started? They were selling books and textbooks and stuff for way cheaper than all the other companies, and then all the other companies fall out, and then Amazon can like raise the prices as much as they want. That's basically what people do every time.
And the entire social and cultural landscape of the town changed. Suddenly it was becoming a clone town, an exact replica of every other small town across America. McDonald's, dollar stores, giant highways.
It is pretty sad though. I mean, that's probably why there's like absolutely zero diversity in like the US. Pretty much everywhere you go is gonna look the same. You're gonna see the same restaurants over and over, and I mean, people keep going there. People keep giving them money. It's sickening.
And it's something that David Foster Wallace predicted in the book Infinite Jest, where he wrote of a future where eventually in America, year names are replaced by chain names. Instead of say 2024 for example, it would be the year of the Whopper instead. I mean, is it any surprise that 1 in 8 Americans are now becoming alcoholics? Depression and anxiety is at the highest levels ever recorded? I mean, despite all of America's technological advancements, all the new gadgets, the latest iPhones, the latest Starbucks flavors, the latest new Big Mac specials and rewards, nihilism is hanging in the air more than ever. The economic pressure is mounting, and people are becoming more and more isolated from their communities and want to.
So this is basically another doomer video. I mean, basically he's tying everything in together, like the expensive fast food, the dollar stores, throwing off all these small businesses, everywhere looking the same, with people having depression and alcoholism. And for the most part, I think it's absolutely true. I think there's a reason why Gen Z is like struggling with this shit a lot more, and no, I don't think it's because of cell phones or social media or whatever the fuck people are trying to blame it on all the time. I don't think it really has much to do with that at all. I mean, maybe in part it does, but I think it's much more significant to have like a really shitty economy than to have kind of like, you know, like a shitty sense of self-esteem because you don't look like some Snapchat filter with dog ears. And while I think this is like an explanation for why people are sort of like really unhealthy, getting fat and shit, like I don't think it's an excuse, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for like your own decisions, and like it isn't really your fault where you are, but you're really the only one who can take yourself out of it. And I don't think it's really a good mindset to have this idea that companies should change, or that the government should make companies change, because I mean, it's just not gonna happen. Let's be for real here. Like it's not gonna happen though. But I think that was a pretty good video. I agreed with like most of what this guy said here, but people do need to be a bit more accountable, because I mean, you can blame it on a lot of other societal factors external to yourself, but at the end of the day, none of that is gonna matter if you keep eating the Big Mac.